You know, when it comes to the Slaton family, not just the sisters, but just everyone, there's always backlash happening. But when it comes to Amy, especially Amy, I believe that she probably receives the most backlash. I mean, listen, I could sit and say to you that Tammy's the one that gets it, but I think Amy has always got it the most. Why? Well, because a lot of people question her parenting skills. A lot of people question her hygiene. And when I say hygiene, I'm talking about the fact that she has kept her home, you know, rather untidy, you know, and also at the same time, before even having a child and before even the TV show, we're going back to the YouTube days, Amy was also caught many times for having roaches in the house and all this kind of stuff because, you know, when it comes to looking after the home, it's never really been something that she's been great at. But at the same time, recently, we moved forward to when she's now had Gage. When she had Gage in the last season of season 3, people obviously witnessed Amy having a breakdown because she felt like she wasn't being a good mother. And she also had a breakdown because when, well, I believe it was nannies that came around, I'm not too sure what they were called, but 2 women came around to obviously look at the house, help unpack all that kind of stuff. And we saw that the house was a state, you know. I believe at the time, dishes were everywhere, and there was pretty much little little insects running around and all sorts. It wasn't a good sight. And it's something that Amy, of course, you know, when it came to it, she was very distraught about the situation, shall I say. And it's crazy because this happened in season 3. We now fast forward to season 4, and we're in the same position where Amy's still complaining about being a good mother. Always worrying about, can I be that mother or not? Despite the fact that she then went off and had another child, Glenn. Now, also at the same time, people always notice that whenever Amy posts a picture of her child, Gage, there's always something in the background or always something that just doesn't look nice. There's always something that looks a bit messy. Or if she takes her child to Disney, people will call her out for it. It's as if she just can't win. It's as if she just can't do anything right. Which is why maybe it's best for her to keep her child off camera. But we are now here with a new complaint. Tammy recently posted an image, and this image in particular was of Gage playing with an iPad. And because of this, people have gone absolutely berserk about it. In fact, I came across this information in particular on The Sun. And as you can see here, so sad. 1,000-pound sister Tammy Slaton accused of ruining Gage's brain as she lets nephew 2 play with questionable device. And of course, this is the image in particular where you see Gage playing with an iPad. Now, for me, myself in particular, you know, I'm someone that generally don't believe that children should be given any device at a very young age personally, because we live in a world where all kids know is computers. That's all they know. But you ask a kid to run, they can't run. You ask a kid to draw, they can't draw. You know what I mean? You ask a kid to jump, they can't jump. And I know this because being someone that has worked with children for so many freaking years, being a PE teacher in the whole shebang and doing PE lessons, whether it be football, gymnastics, tennis, you name it, the amount of kids that couldn't even actually run was insane to me. And I'm talking about kids all the way from reception, which was obviously expected, of course. But let's say for the people in the UK, kids from year 1 to year 6. So from year 1 to year 6, these are kids who are averaging around at the age of between 5 to 11, 5 to 12, right? And to be honest, if I've been around kids who are literally around 8 to 9 and you ask them to jump over, you ask them to jump off a stool and they can't do it. They're afraid to do it. You ask them to step on a stool. They don't want to do it. They're scared. They're scared they might break their knees. I've seen kids walk as if they have no bones because they've been pushing prams for way too long. So really and truly, when I saw this, I was like, interesting. Ruining Gage's brain. Now, it is known, it is documented, that if you sleep with your phone underneath your pillow, it potentially actually messes up your brain cells. I mean, I was told this because I've always slept with my phone underneath my pillow. Not anymore, of course. So I sat there and I said to myself, so what is the consequences of Gage actually being exposed to an electronic device like an iPad at the age of 2? So I decided to go on Google. Google's our best friend, right? It's been our longest best friend. And decided to type in a very simple question. Should a baby have an iPad? You know, and this is obviously the response that came out of first. Using your child, unless your child is video chatting. The AAP recommends avoiding digital media, including TV, computers, and video games until she's 18 months old to 2 years. Now, of course, we know that Gage is 2 years old. But does it mean that it's okay for Gage to be exposed to an iPad? Well, this is where we go deeper down into the conversation. As you can see here, how do iPads affect babies? For each additional hour of videos that 8 to 16-month old infants watch in a day, they said an average of 6 to 8. An average is, let me get my words out of my freaking mouth. Now I'm being a baby, man. I can't even get my words out of my mouth. Maybe it's my computer screen right now affecting my eyes, affecting everything that I'm doing. But anyway, they said an average of 6 to 8 fewer words. These new studies show an increased screen time places infants at higher risk for expressive language delays and can result in young children saying fewer words. Now, also at the same time, there's this other question: is iPad bad for babies' eyes? Without exception, blue eye is emitted by all digital devices. The dangers of blue light on future eye health have been researched and documented. Overexposure to blue light can put children at an increased risk of early onset macular degeneration and cataracts in the future. I don't know what's wrong with me, man. I'm you know what? Honestly, I actually think I'm autistic. I'll lie to you. That's not me mocking autistic people. There's something wrong with me, you know that. Maybe I'm dyslexic. I think maybe I'm dyslexic. I don't know. Autistic wasn't a word. I don't know. Either way, though, let's get into the point of the video. We don't know how long Gage has been exposed to an iPad. And one thing that I do know 100% is that whenever I saw a parent pick up their child from school, the first thing the parent would do is give their child their phone or their iPad so the parent could just continue talking to whoever they're talking to. No, they said, hey, how you doing? Hey, how's your day been? Hey, mom, I got this. Don't worry about that. You just take this iPad and shut the hell up. I mean, honestly, we live in a world where parents nowadays, if they're not using food to shut up their kid, they're using devices. And it's criminal. That's why obesity in children is just ridiculous. Ridiculous. Now, also at the same time, there was an incident as well that was also documented around Gage and, you know, the scales and whatnot. Apparently, he came across a pair of scales and he stepped on them on a video that Amy had made, and it came out that Gage was weighing about 28. I don't think it was 28 pounds. I think it may have been something else, but either way, though, that's a whole different conversation. Let's just move away from that because it wasn't really that deep. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, as far as I'm concerned, if you are someone that is literally giving your child an iPad, I don't care if your child is 2 years old, 5 years old, 10 years old, 15 years of age, to be honest with you, for that matter. If you are exposing your child to electronic devices and exposing your child to food just because you got things to do and you want them to shut the hell up, you are a bad parent. You need to look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that you are a bad parent and you don't deserve your child because you should be doing better. Really and truly, children, just like myself, growing up myself in particular, I was out every single day being a freaking rebel. Now, I'm not saying that your children should be rebels, not at all. But at the end of the day, your child should be out here doing something, whether it be going to a off-school club, you know, whether it be going to a football club or a rugby club or American football club or, you know, tennis, cricket, you name it, baseball, whatever it could be, swimming, you know what I mean, kayaking, I don't know, you know what I mean, parkour, whatever it could be, your child or brownies, clubs, all that kind of stuff, your child should be out here doing something physical. Or if it's not physical, maybe books. Take them to the library. Take them to the pile of books and let them read. Because, of course, physicality is for everyone. Some people like to just sit down and read something. You know what I mean? So they can do that. Play some chess. And this is the thing that's so crazy. The amount of tools that we've always had before electronics to have fun, to become stronger physically, to become stronger mentally is nuts. But people behave as if these things don't exist. And just giving yourself an electronic device is going to work and feeding them is going to work. All you're doing is damaging your child's health physically, and if it's not physically, you're damaging your child's health mentally. And most importantly, you are affecting their social abilities. So when it comes to socializing, nowadays kids don't even know how to socialize. Not all kids, of course, but some of them don't know how to because all they know is their computer games. In fact, nowadays kids are more confident socializing with a stranger on a video game online that they've never met, and you hope that they never meet them, rather than they are just to go outside and say, hey, neighbor, how you doing? I mean, kids nowadays are neighbors with kids for like 10 years and don't even know their name. What happened to sleepovers? You know what I mean? Going outside, man, do the ruckus. Parents nowadays will spend like a couple $100 on electronic devices rather than spend a couple $100 on a basketball hoop or a goalie net. The world we live in, eh? The matter of fact is, though, when it comes to the situation here, I will say this, despite the fact that I went on a whole bloody rant, in my opinion, this is all connected regardless. I am going to summarize this. I'm going to say that personally, I don't know, and you could say that I'm probably not the right person to say this, but I'll say it anyway. I don't know if really and truly if Amy is the right person to be a parent right now, because this is someone that has rushed herself having 2 kids. She had a kid after losing weight, even though she was told not to have a child. She was meant to lose more weight. She did it anyway. Then went on, had another second child, and the crazy thing is, when she went on to have her second child, Glenn, she was already complaining about her struggles of being a mother to Gage, but decided to still have another child anyway. How is someone like that prepared to have a child? Someone that had a child and didn't even learn properly how to be the best parent possible. Does that exist? The best? Yes, it does. That does exist. Anyone can be the best parent possible, because I've seen parents be the worst parents possible. You see what I'm saying? End of the day, your first child really and truly is your first introduction into being a parent. That's when you learn as much as you can about, obviously, how to look after a baby, how to look after a toddler, how to look after a young one, how to look after a teenager, and so on and so on and so on, right? You know what I mean? At least after, I don't know, maybe the time your child is at 5, it really depends on who you are, of course, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, Amy's not one of those people that was ready to have kids back to back, because what we continue to see from her is crazy. Some of the things are very petty that people do call her for. I'm like, yo, relax. But then some of the things that we witnessed per each season, I'm thinking, rah, this is odd. And the thing is as well, as I continue to rant here, I cannot sit here and say TLC have made her look like a bad parent, because at the end of the day, she's the one who's accepted this. But let's not forget, recently we found out the reason why, or one of the reasons why Michael's divorcing is because he did not want his children on the show anymore. But Amy still wanted her kids on the show. So the fact that she was still open to have her kids on the show, even though it was going to show her in ways that aren't exactly the best of her being the best parent, she still did it anyway. Things that people do for money, I guess, I don't know. And also on top of that, this is a woman that rushed having 2 kids, knowing that her relationship with her husband wasn't even that strong, because I can promise you now, their problems would have definitely began after the first child, Gage. I feel sorry for Glenn and I feel sorry for Gage. But maybe I feel sorry for Glenn more. No, I feel sorry for themselves. But at the end of the day, like I said before, who am I to tell someone that they are not fit to be a parent, or they should not be a parent, or they have rushed too much, or, they should have waited a little bit longer until they actually got the grasp of actually being a parent first before having another one straight away. Who am I to do that, eh? Who am I to do that? I'm moving mad. That's exactly who I am. Let me know exactly what you're thinking down below, please, and we'll talk about it. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.